pertains Nigeria and our local and common well-being. And today we'll be talking about the renewed call for the development of the Southeast. How else can we be talking about this if not to think that for some reasons, best known to the entity called Nigeria, a whole lot of people from this part of the world have been saying or clamoring that some form of marginalizations have really been meted out to the Southeast. And then in the studio, we have a guest that will be talking about a seasoned political analyst and then public affairs analyst that will be delving into these matters to really give an insight on what actually, well, how we can salvage the situation or probably make headway and not talk about this marginalization. And in the studio here with me, we have Kanayo Obidebu, who happens to be a public affairs analyst. Good morning, sir. It's always a pleasure having you around.
Thank you for having me.
And we have Ifeanyi Ogwebunam, Ogunebunam, public affairs analyst. Also, good morning. Lovely to always have you around.
It's a pleasure being here.
Well, you still know I'm Ajumuchukwu. And quickly, let us delve into what we're talking about, the renewed call for the development of southeastern part of Nigeria. It is really, really, let's say, an interesting topic to delve into, bearing in mind that this is the economic hub of Nigeria, the entity called Nigeria, because the Southeasterners seem to be the engine block that is reverberating the economy called Nigeria. Every part of Nigeria you go to, if you don't find a Southeasterner doing one thing or the other, bringing returns to the economy and development of that area, then that means you don't know the part of Nigeria that you're talking about. But quickly, the call for development of the Southeast, I mean, Southeast, we can say that Southeast, as we all know, is a nomenclature to say these are the Igbo-speaking part of Nigeria. But in every part of Nigeria, we have Southeasterners pulling their weight in every aspect of economy, you know, making the economy of such states vibrant, politically and economically, as we can say. So let me start with you, Kanayo. Can you say to what extent that we can bring this development that we have scattered all over Nigeria to bring them home in order to foster growth in this region?
Well, in the first instance, the Eastern region as a region was established in 1954, and it became part of the Federation of the Northwest and Eastern region as at the time, East. So, when it was established, and we were pushing to be independent and finally get a good republic. Within that period of time, the Igbos were all over the place, but they were not clamoring for development of the Southeast as a region, because the political era as at the time gave the Southeast the opportunity to develop. You know, we are talking about people coming into Southeast now to before development. But I'm saying that at the time this creation was made, the region by itself, when we say we look inward, we say we think out of the box, actually thought out of the box by our leaders and did what? Started development. And the constitution as at the time, which was a very well structured constitution, gave the region the opportunity to be self-governed. Whether we like it or not, the present constitution of this country will never ever give any region, particularly the Southeast, the opportunity to develop themselves by themselves. The segmentation of states, the creation of individualism of states made it so much impossible for all the Southeastern states to harmonize.
Are you talking about presently because of
yes.
the diversion of political parties?
Of course. You know, we have political parties with interest, with different manifestos which are still look alike. But at the same time, if you still remember, there was a time Nwobodo was the governor of Anambra State, Anambra State, and wanted to do a road. The federal Ekweme was not in tandem with Nwobodo. And he said, this is a federal road, you can't do it. You understand what I'm saying? Is he not trying to, put a stop to the development of the area? So you see what politics could cause in a region. So what I'm trying to say is that until the 5 states of the eastern region have a harmonized thought of let us do this thing, Nanka, Unkai, then the atmosphere now does not even, support that development you are talking about. You know why? The insecurity.
Okay, fine. Let me get to you, Ifeanyi. Is it possible that the 5 East governors, so to say, this part of Nigeria can't have that genuine call for redevelopment, rather than this issue of people speaking from different parts of their mouth and saying that we are marginalized? If we come together, can we actually achieve this, irrespective of our difference in political parties and inclination?
I will tell you the answer is yes. When the people are one, there's nothing impossible. And no force or no army in the world can stop an idea whose time has come. Mbogielu. That's number one. Then, is the Southeast marginalized? Yes. The only tribe in Nigeria that is Nigerian is the Igbo man. Travel from here to the most remote part of any area of this country, you see an Igbo man developing that area. And I ask, how many South people do have developed properties in the Southeast? It's not there.
That's the nearest neighbor.
How many from the Yoruba land has investments worth money in the Southeast? It's not there. How many Northerners have development in the Southeast? Traceable development. Not shanties, but investment worth billions of naira. It's not there. But go to the north, you see the investment of an Igbo man worth in billions. Go to the south, go to the southwest. So the only person who is a Nigerian is an Igbo man. I don't have any apologies to say that. I've gone around this country and I say it with emphasis. That on one side. The other 5 geopolitical zones have 6 states. The Igbo states are only 5. What went wrong? What did they do wrong? The South has 5 states. The North Central, the Northeast. Why is it only the Southeast that have 5 states? So the marginalization is there. There's no... the Igbo man will tell you that you don't tell a blind man there is no salt in the soup. You can only tell him there's no oil. Because upon testing the soup, he will tell you there's no salt. Yeah. Now, there's an adage. Growing up, my mother and my father will always tell us, they will go further to tell you, these are 2 philosophies. I believe that life is lived on principles and philosophies. And since the Igbo man threw away these 2 philosophies, we got nowhere. We got lost. Because that ought to be our compass. That simply means you must guard yourself. Even the Bible said, guard yourself. Guard your heart jealously, because of it feels the issues of life. And the Bible also tell you, now the people are one. There is nothing impossible. The question is, can the Igbo man come together as one?
Well, the Ohanese and Igbo have already come to say they are suing the federal government, you understand?
That's a waste of time.
Marginalization. Because they are still talking about, why would the Igbo states have 5 states and other parts, just like you mentioned, have 6? Do you see any friction from this act of the Ohanibo to probably to speak, like I say, into the conscience of federal government to see if somehow the Igbos can definitely, or maybe the Southeasterners can get 1 additional state?
If I have to answer you,
yeah,
I will tell you it's an exercise in futility. Do you know why?
Why, please?
Very good. Nwago. Mbosi ocheteni abu nwago. Omeifo jibalago. What the South, I am expecting from Ohanese. The Southeast Development Commission bill has been passed. Where is the roadmap? Our founding fathers, the Emir Paras, and the rest of them, were very smart in their reasoning. Where you have Odumegwu Ojukwu University today was a palm plantation. Generating fund. What I'm expecting from the Southeastern governors and the leaders of thought in the Southeast is to sit down and roll out a development map for themselves. Look, the constitution, like I always say, is a problem. But sometimes you have a way of circumventing. Eba na ado nwa nwelu nne na nna ka nke na enwere ọnụ na ana amụta ife. Eba na ado nwa nwelu nne na nna ka nke na enwere ọnụ na ana amụta ife. What the Igbo man needs to do, what the Southeastern governors need to do, what the leaders of thought in the South needs to do, is to come back home and look at the comparative advantages of each of these states, and then tailor events, activities along that line. I remember my father was a civil servant. He transversed the whole length and breadth of the old Anambra state, which comprised of Anambra, Enugu, and Ebonyi today. Now, in these three states, they have comparative advantages. What is the comparative advantages of these states? Can we empower them? Now, there is a connect. First, I'll talk about the issue about road. Can the Southeastern governors map out a particular road that connects Anambra to Enugu, Enugu to Ebonyi?
Ebonyi. Are you talking about the state capital?
I'm not talking about the capital.
But the existing road that connects these places.
Mapping it out. There are. I say mapping it out. Okay. Pick my words. I'm carefully picking them. Map it out. There is a road from Onitsha transversing the whole of Anambra East down to Ayamelum, connecting Nsukka. From Nsukka, connect it to Enugu. Bring Abia, connect to Anambra. Imo, connect to Anambra. Then Abia Imo, connect to Enugu. Enugu, connect to Ebonyi. It will be a well thought out plan and arrangement. Now, after that, you pick the next. Power. There is coal in Enugu. Professor Barton is from Enugu, a professor of power. There is gas in Ayamelum, in Omasi to be precise. Now, if we don't power by coal, we power by gas. And funny enough, the electricity bill permits the states to ring themselves regionally. So when these are done, you have power, you have road infrastructure. Then the next is hunger. Ago, ni. Now, these areas I've called for you are predominantly agricultural based, of which, if this is properly annexed, the movement of okra from Omase, Anako to Onitsha becomes less than 30 minutes. So the man in Onitsha can conveniently feed very well. Omase, Anako to Nsukka is less than 30 minutes on this road I'm talking about. So the man in Nsukka is already guaranteed of okra at least. Now, the man in Nsukka will also move his shower shops and those fruits and whatever he's producing down to these two routes in less than 1 hour. You remember the other and the rice. Now, the same goes round. Now, it's a question of who are the leaders of thoughts. Are they interested? Are they interested? If yes, then, because there is no big deal to these issues. The rice coming from Abakaliki is managed by the Anambra men. The transport hub in Abakaliki is managed by the Anambra men. So these things are very simple. It's the thought line of both the leaders of thoughts and the governors. Thought line. Leave politics out of it.
Okay.
Now, still talking about this, you want to share a little?
Yes, I want to talk about what you just said. For instance, the road networking, which is very important in anywhere in the world. In America, we have what we call the I-95. You can join I-95 and get to California from the west to east coast. That is what he's talking about.
Top line.
You come into an area, you talk of the Beltway. Beltway is like a belt that belt all the cities within a region.
Together.
Thank you. So now, what is he saying, talking about? He's talking about road development. Even it could be told, because in most of these areas, they are told, because maintenance must come. However, I want to say categorically that those premiers Those leaders of thought, those leaders of the Igbo man as at that time, do not have avarice tendencies.
Like we have now.
Yes.
Please remove the potapota. Define the word. Because avarice is a big grammar.
We know
Can they
why.
buy water?
Okay.
Say boy. Say boy again.
Even in a situation where mother Charlie will leave about a person, what man not Charlie.
Yeah, and you put compolum.
Greed.
Call all
The
one.
height of greed is avarice. That is and then, why am I saying so? In those good days, Opara, Ibian, Zeke, Ozumba, they were not thinking of building castles everywhere in this country.
Castles in the air.
So, what they were doing? They were thinking of developing the corridors of development and industrialization within the southeast region, which includes the Port Harcourt, the rivers, and the
Cross River today.
Cross River.
The eastern
As at
region
that
then.
time, they started Cross River. They were on the verge of establishing the cement industry, which before the war came in. But already, there's glass industry. There was no oil. They weren't talking about oil. Like you said, farm product. The farm at Ibariam, we start to understand that farm settlement. When you go to Oria, the cashew nut.
Okay.
You see,
there is even a belt of cashew plantation
Plantation.
around that.
Who did that?
Okigwe down to Afibo.
Thank you.
Axis.
Who did
The same palm plantation is there in Abia.
Yes. Who did that?
Is in Imo.
Okpara was on agriculture. All these things happened under 7 years. But our governors are in office for 8 years. You found out that they cannot even develop their states.
Themselves first.
Yes. How do they harmonize development within the region? Yes, we are clamoring. You talked about Ohanese.
Yeah, because like he said,
Yeah.
that it's an effort in futility.
Yes.
But I think if we begin to make that stance, re-echo, give it that big resonance, I believe it will yield positive
How
results.
many governors that left office without any skirmish of embezzlement? Still, so far within the southeast.
You mean
How many of them?
Since 99?
Yes.
The constitution. You see, I don't like facing a brick wall.
But you can now see that Okpara doesn't have 2 houses in Enugu. Francis William doesn't have 2 houses in Enugu as at the time. They were the regional capital of this country. Our regional capital was in Calabar, established in 1954, and then moved down to Enugu. At the time, they had a very what they call an embassy office at Umuahia, where they were doing what? Coordinating the southeast.
From a debt.
And then they brought in a consultant.
Yeah, from US.
America, yes. To give them a roadmap of how to develop the region. And the man came out with a blueprint which was being looked into and being established before the army guys stopped. And that was what stalled the Eastern region development. Otherwise, Eastern region was the leading region in this country. Not even with the West.
From what time to what time?
Talking about from 1956 to 1966, within a period of 10 years. Yes, before the army guys came in. Within a period of 10 years, a lot of things, refineries were established, Hotel Presidential in Port Harcourt, Hotel Presidential in Enugu, all those housing estates were established. And they moved there, even some of the big boys, to go to federal, like Mbadiwe, who became the aviation ministers at the time. At what age? Look at their age when they were doing all those things, and look at our present-day governors. Imo State governor came up with that. We are going to do a deep sea, this, deep sea, that, at Tubuta. It becomes just a news, and it's gone. Is anybody talking about it? No. So for us to have a proper regional development, there must be an affiliation between all Ndibo. They should start by going to all these governors to bring them together. They have their meetings, but they are not thinking in one direction.
Top line.
That's the point. If they think in the same direction, Igbo man is the most developed human being anywhere in the world. I mean, you can see the exploit we're doing in the US, in the UK, in Russia, name anywhere, is an Igbo man.
China.
One of the best hospitals that is in Port Harcourt today, River State, is established by one Okoye from Enugu.
Kenayo, that is what brings me to this same issue.
Yes.
If we are this good outside Anambra, then what is stopping us?
Security. The present situation of security in the southeast is alarming. You and I know that you cannot travel freely between the hours of 7 o'clock to the next hour of 6 o'clock in the morning, unlike before. You can move in the night and travel to anywhere, even with the bond road network as at then. But you are free, you are confident. We don't have police formation in all those areas. They are only in certain cities, where they have divisions. But today, all the local government we have created within the southeast, there are police posts, there are police divisions, and there are much crime. Every day in Oka, in the last 3-4 days, we witnessed killings, and police did not report it. If police people cannot report crime, if they cannot fight crime, who is coming into that region to develop? Is it my brother in Abuja? Part of development, I best spend the ego within the community. But again, that money will be spent in Abuja. If you watch it now, you hardly see good programs, even church programs, coming into this area. People are not free to move in the night. So insecurity is number one.
It's not peculiar in the night, though. It affects the day as well.
Oh, yeah. But I'm talking about Abani Diegu the first.
I'll put a go from Abani Diegu. Where if you're Diegu? Ndiegu of an Abani Kebu. So, broad daylight.
Yes. So, our region to develop, we must do what? Develop security first. We must develop security. Security must be top on the agenda for whatever Ohanese is talking about. They should be able to get to these governors. You have security vote. What are they doing with those security vote that the constitution empowers them with? Can you imagine? And when on a monthly basis, even the local government chairman has a security vote. Local government chairman, they do have security vote. What are they securing? Nothing. The governors are every day. I don't want to mention figures because if you mention figures, your heart will get heart attack of how much money that they go and take from whether federal government or whether from the state coffer, and this is just a security vote on monthly basis. What are they doing with it? Security vote, you can retire it. Nobody is not answerable. So what are you doing with it? Then there was no security vote for Bara. There was no security vote for Iban. But the whole region was secured and the government was moving. It was very gradual, but at the end of the day, we saw the big effect.
If I like in the issue of what could be militated about against rather the development of the Southeast, don't you think that lack of employment, adequate employment, could be a reason why we are not making headway in this channel? Bearing in mind that this region have energetic youth, vibrant economy, yet nobody seems to be driving them in the right direction. In your own opinion, what do you think the Southeast can do together to come in order to have a hub where this youth, this young, vibrant economy can probably project something positive into the region?
Ajulo.
Yeah.
Actually, see you. That's number one. Number two, I have always advocated I don't solve a long-term problem with a short-term ideology or short-term measures. First and foremost, I don't have issue that youths are not employed. I have issue why are they not employed? What is the reasons why they are not employed? The first issue is this. In the old thoughts of an Igbo man, nwa bụ nwa ora. Philosophy, ideology. Secondly, Mgbe nwa bụ nwa ọra, I will correct your child, you will correct my child. There were no demarcations, no boundaries, no unnecessary divisions. I call it unnecessary because it's not necessary. Then you come back to the issue about no basarum.
Which is what we're having right now.
Obasarum.
Before you get into Nobasarum, let us get to know what the street work is giving to us so that we can hear what the Nigerians in the Anambra are saying concerning the topic that we have for discussion this week. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Nobasarum.
It will bring peace to the southeast. That's what matters. And government should know what they do to bring peace to the southeast. And bringing peace to the southeast means that they face development. Then another development, that so many roads in the southeast are very bad. So many roads are bad. So they need to improve on those roads. And then human development. The youth should be developed, right? They should be able to empower the youth so that most of the crimes and all these things will come to an end. But we need good roads in the southeast. Then the government should equally invest on the youth. They should invest on the youth by empowering the youth so that instead of engaging in crimes, they should be engaged in useful ventures. So these are the little things I think the government can do for now.
For the development of Southeast, so for me, I think Southeast is lacking good road connection. Southeast is lacking good seaports. Like Lagos State, they have many functioning seaports, which make it easier for those in the business line that do import goods from outside Nigeria to import their goods. But in Southeast, I don't think that there is any standard seaports in the whole of Southeast. So, and this thing alone is crumbling the economy of Southeast. And another thing is a steady power supply.
I think that first of all, we need to talk about our own orientation to life. We are an industrious people. But recently, a lot of things have come up in our country and in the area that makes it look like a lot of our young ones, and not only them, even some of the middle age, they are thinking more of how to get easy money now instead of talking of working hard. But that's one thing that I need. We need to change our mindset now. What is happening presently? That's one. Then two, also that many a times we like to be individualistic in our endeavors. Want to just work maybe by our individuals, our strength and the rest of them. We need to start talking of collaborations. Okay. And then I also believe that we have moved away from agriculture, although the present administration is trying to maybe work towards that agriculture, but I think that we need to work more in that area and be not just pay lip service to it, because a lot of lip service is paid to it, but we should, when you talk of the nitty-gritty of it, credit facilities, have problems with that funding for those in that sector. Then security also is another issue. It's not just in the southeast anyway, it's all over the country. Something that is affecting our productivity, agriculturally, technologically. Power supply also is another problem. It's another big issue. So I think these areas need to be to be addressed.
The lights, like there's no stable light. There's some places you go to now that they've not been light for the past 1 month now. When election now start coming now, you will see they will start repairing roads, doing this, bringing in new facilities, other things because of his election, in order for the masses to vote for them, which is not proper. It's so improper. So the government should improve on that aspect. It's not during election they'll start doing this, they'll start building this and that for people to vote for them. It's really not right.
The call for restructuring the Southeast. And we've heard a whole lot from, worthy Anambarians, you understand, people on the streets, the future of tomorrow, and even the people that have seen the past, talking and giving their thoughts. Some talking about security, some talking about economy, and then just like we rightly discussed here in the studio, that there is no part of the world in Nigeria that you won't see an Igbo man progressing, adding value to the economy of that place. And then the question is, why is that not being translated in this part of the world? And that is a discussion we're having before we went on that street talk. And quickly, if I please continue from where.
So, like I'm saying, the issue of Nombasaram, how can a foreigner come and occupy the bush in your community? First year, second year, before he becomes an Oga, an Odionwere, in an area, he's a stranger. And people say, Nombasarofa. You hear parents today, rebuke their children. Third line, ideology. Then, before now, we had coal in Enugu functioning, employing a line chunk, not less than 6,000 to 7,000 persons. From Eva Valley, poultry and all the rest of them. And the development starts from there. Today, where is the hub? Minus on a main market and a little effort in the Navy, where can we point at as a development hub where these youths are going to be employed? Skilled, unskilled, and semi-skilled. It's not there. It's not there.
But some of the theater of learning, tertiary institutions are having all this vocational stuff being attached to their curriculum, probably based on the trend of modern day society. People are going away from the white-collar job into skills, alcohol, in order to feed yourself and then be self-reliant. There is a need to diversify the economy. And I'm sure most of these universities are already thinking in that line. And they are having it in their curriculum. Take, for instance, UNIZIC having, what is it called? The School of Meteorology, where people are learning crafts. So I believe on a broad scale, we are working towards it. Probably we are not pushing it hard enough in order to get the desired result.
Like I said, if a madman impregnates a sane, sound person, we beget a sound person. Is the third line. What do you reason in your head? Because out of the abundance of the heart, the Bible also said, guard your heart jealously because out of it flows the issues of life. The universities are doing their own bit. What about those in political authority? What are they doing? Edo State, as we speak today, has developed their own independent power line.
Edo State?
Yes. They have done 3 power plants, generating light. All the stadium is run by the power plant owned by Edo State government. The hospitals, the street lights, and even the government offices. We have the same gas in Omase. What have we done with it? Just send a gas turbine to Omase. Generate light. Ring Omase. And the environment. Okay, manage to extend to Otuocha. And maybe, God willing, get to Onitsha. And the Igbo man is so smart that if you get light in Omase, those who are doing these entrepreneurial studies, they also need light. Whether you are doing computer works, you need light. Whether you're an agriculturist, you need light to store your materials. Everything. Whether you're a technologist, you need light to process those things. There we are. So it's a thought line. Are our leaders providing things along the thought lines? Then the second issue, like I give a typical example. If you go to Ifitogwari, if you go to Anako, as we even speak now, and Nkata is less than 5,000. When I mean Nkata, I mean Nkata. Yeah. Come to Ekoka, Achinyagum. Because the man in Anako, in Ifitogwari, we find it extremely difficult to move those food items down here. It will take him a 2-day journey. No road. Above family has the best mass, especially of rice we call mass. Evacuate that food from there. It's a problem. So when we put the basic infrastructures, the society will just run on its own. That's just a basic issue. Then it will also affect security as well. Because if the man is hungry, he will steal my chicken. But if he has chicken, I have chicken. Why must he steal my own? It's not possible. Because scarcity begets demand.
Coming to you now, our colonial masters built railways for us. Mm-hmm. As much as those railways were to convey goods and services, they were equally to export our natural resources, raw materials, ferry them out of the country. What has stopped our leaders of yesterday and even the current ones in order to build on those rail lines? Because rail seems to be the cheapest way to move goods and services. In the whole of the Southeast, there is no connecting railroad in order to boost economic services and even trade. What's your take on that?
You see, before Obara came, we have lost the thought of that a colonial master was in charge of the region. Oh yes. There was 3 of them, and 2 of them before Obara, who were actually laying the foundation on which Obara, Zik, and the rest of them built on. They are colonial masters. Our problem, like you rightly said, security. Insecurity in the country will not allow any development anywhere because you can't go to farm.
But this insecurity of the thing we're talking about is not even up to a decade. So what happened before the insecurity that is ravaging this part of the East and even the entire Nigeria?
You know, when the war ended, the condition of the 3R, which all of us were embracing, thinking that it was going to, help the country to grow. That was the Goanology kind of reform when the war ended. But like he rightly said, there are people who are hell-bent on that Eastern region will remain underdeveloped, having fought the war. That war, which we fought, which was a war of self-determination, whether we like it or not, as at the time, was a war we should have fought. But to the extent the Nigerian government has stepped down on the development of the people of this region does not give us room for certain things to work out. Today, somebody was saying there's a UK embassy in Enugu now, but people are not patronizing it. And people are being now persuaded, why do you want to leave Enugu to go to Lagos and Abuja? That if the embassy is being patronized properly, that other countries will come and establish in Enugu, which was the regional capital of the Southeast. So what I'm trying to say is that there are things that will enable us to grow that were denied to us. Those basic things. And as we speak now, I remember that when you go for the industrial license to the Federal Ministry of Industry, they will ask you questions. Where do you want to establish it? And you say no, because an outside man is the man, the PAMSEC or the Director General, he will not give approval. That was why we entered into buying and selling commerce. If you see what power has done to us, there are a few industries that has closed down. Otherwise, they were all thriving, picking up before, even immediately after the war. They came in with this indigenization for us not to buy up the multinational companies or be part of it within few years. And we were not there. But you can't kill a tortoise in board. If you know what that, so you can't kill it. That line of thought of an able man for self-determination, self-development is what is assisting the region, not the policies of the government. The policies of this government is not in our favor in any way. Then, like we talked about on Omase, having gas, and the other Edo states establishment having their own power. ECN in Oji.
Okay.
Look at our Oji here. Oji was giving us light. You see, Oji here, there was no, you can't talk about power failure when Oji was on.
And the coal is there.
And coal was being
the relics of the power plant is still there.
You see coal being transported from Enugu in buckets.
Yeah.
It is a good sight to behold, as at the time.
And it drives your thought mind.
Yes. So what am I trying to say? They have not actually given us room to establish. Look at our, our Obunigwe we developed, our armored car we developed. Have they given us opportunity to do that? Otherwise, why would they be buying armored tanks from outside the country when we have intelligent people that would have been doing all those things? Look at the Defense Industries Corporation.
Deacon, Kaduna.
What is he doing now? Nothing. But if an Igbo man becomes the champion there, you see things start to change. But what? Mistrust.
So quickly, because of time, Ifeanyi, what do you suggest the region, the stakeholders in the region, the policymakers, governors, and you and I can do in order to see that this beautiful bride that we call the Southeast can indeed be that beautiful that it will attract investment so that we stop all this clamor for marginalization and the rest of it all and develop at the pace of, will I say, the eastern tiger of Asia?
First, policy. And what are these policies? Number one, each state should stop seeing itself as independent. Obasarom, Anambra Muloko, Enugu Jualumoyi. Oga? The eye, the nose, and the mouth are together. Once the head is off, all we go with the head.
Absolutely.
And without sounding immodest, most of the touts in Anambra are not really Anambra indigenes.
No, sure.
They are from Ebonyi and Abia.
Sure.
Majority. Not that they are not Anambra people. There are. So it tells you that no matter what you do, somebody is agitated. Then I move also. I've talked about the investors. Thank God for people like Innocent. No matter what you tell him, he's in a way. You know, those are the top lines we talk about. One man walk out to in main market, then we used to tell you, no nye je Lagos to try. Onye je China balloon this bomb. So those investors in Anambra and in the southeast are not on kitty. They're also doing something.
Quickly, can you just throw in a word or two so that we can...
Well, I'm appealing to our governors to come together. Our governors today, the present couple of the Eastern governors are very intelligent men. They should assist the region to grow.
Irrespective of political difference.
Yes. What is
He's an Igbo man. You're only governing a section.
Yes.
Of the same tribe, Igbo man.
For instance, the geometric power establishment in Havana is serving both APC, PDP, APOGA, and everybody. So whatever they come together to do is for the interest of an Igbo man and for the region. And if this region is good, this thing called philosophy
will run on its own accord.
It will fall into place without, seamlessly. So that is what I am appealing to our governors because today they are the top leaders. We are looking forward to
the bulk fund is in their hand to once they move in any direction, development will come.
So I'm appealing to the governors. That's my appeal.
Well, we can hear that. Thank you so much for making yourself available. Kanayo Obidebu, public affairs analyst, and Ifeanyi Ogbe, public affairs analyst. Thank you. It's really been a pleasure talking about the potentials that we have here. Not too long ago, I read on social media where a university in Southwest were studying the Igbo apprenticeship, and it was even a discussion at TED in America. So that means there is something that we have that we are actually selling, but we need to reinvest those energies, those thoughts at home so that we can really develop this place. I still remain Ajuchuko Kagwe, and thank you for joining us on Good Morning Anambra. Tomorrow we'll definitely have to do it again. God bless.